Wholesale Hotline. I'm Brent Daniels.
I'm Jamil Damji.
And I'm Jerry Norton.
And I'm Morby.
Every week we bring you the best information on real estate investing.
Be sure to participate in the comments.
And subscribe.
Enjoy the show!
So thank you so much for calling Wholesale Hotline.
That's it. Wow, that's great.
Hotline number 246. Jamil, who do we have here in studio with us?
Me.
Yeah.
No, we got like one of my favorite real estate investors that I think exists in all of North America. This guy, we got to do a great podcast together at Bigger Pockets.
Yep.
Got to know him there. And he was one of those people that when, you see the deals they do and the size of the deals and like the level of thought and planning and just precision that goes into what's going on. Yep. I realized that I was dealing with a man much smarter than I am, and that's amazing because you want to surround yourself with real estate investors that are absolutely like just geniuses at it.
He's done 4,000 renovations.
4,000 renovations.
4,000.
Yeah.
That means I'm not smart. I did 4,000 renovations.
That's it.
But yeah, hard money lender, fix and flipper, podcaster, wholesaler, and he does it in some of the most terrible markets, Seattle and LA.
I'd say difficult, not terrible.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
But like really hard markets to thrive in, and he's smashing it in there. And there's other things that I'm not allowed to talk about that are on the horizon for this guy, but he's secret things. But this guy is he's incredible. James Daniel, welcome to the show.
James,
what's up,
welcome,
man?
I'm excited to be here.
That's awesome. Jerry, you can pop in here, bud. Jerry's he's not in the room, guys. He's just on the screen
Backstage.
Here. You want to add him?
Yeah, can I do that over here?
There you go.
Hey,
what's up, Jerry?
Hey, fellas. How's it going?
He is from Puerto Rico. Say hi to James.
James, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Great to be here
Puerto
with
Rico.
You two, I would say, because I've gotten to see some of the flips and projects that Jerry Norton does. They always blow my mind, right? I'm like, the cojones you got to have on you to pull off these types of projects is huge, and you guys are one and the same in that regard. I'm just in awe of what you guys have been able to put together, and the kind of what's like. Before I even we get into the nitty gritty of all the things and all the exciting things that you're working on right now, how much is the most money you've made on one single flip?
The best flip we ever did was we made about 1.3 million.
On 1.3 million on one deal. Can you imagine?
Awesome.
Give it up.
How about you, Jerry? How much,
right around the same.
So you guys are measuring up like right. I mean, dude, I've never done that in one deal.
And you know what the messed up thing is?
Yeah.
It was the easiest deal I ever did.
How about you, Jerry? Was it the easiest deal you ever did?
I mean, it was new construction, so yeah, those are usually a little easier.
Wow.
Yeah, mine was new construction that someone bailed out of. And we finished it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, we got a lot to learn from you guys because this is what it looks like when you put your big boy pants and become a real estate investor.
Well, that's something that Jerry talks about. Jerry talks about levels of risk, right? Is really how you level up in the real estate game. And so how do you deal with it? How do you deal with so many things going on and, the risk of the market shifting, economy shifting, things tightening up while you're mid-project? Well, you have multiple projects going on. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, when you're flipping a lot of volume, you're always, timing is everything. I mean, I don't know about Jerry, but my deal we made 1.3 because we hit the market at the last, right before rates shot up, and we hit the most perfect timing you could.
This is like
so
2021?
March of 22?
Yeah, it was March of, yes, right before rates got stepped on. 2 months later, the house probably would have been worth $500,000 less. And so a lot of it's timing, but a lot of the risk too is you can mitigate those risks. and it's about the business you build, and it comes down to resources and how you can, if you get in a transitioning market with that timing, how can you take that project, switch the plan up very quickly and mitigate that risk and get through it. And so I'm a big proponent of, you have to build resources like contractors, vendors, because when the market goes haywire, it's up to you as the operator to drive that cost down to either reduce a loss or get to profit at that point.
Right.
And the other thing that I've learned in this risky business is when it sucks and the market goes haywire and you have all your cash is on the table and you're in a bad spot, the thing you have to always do is always be buying. Because when rates shot up, you can get clipped, or you go into a different market, you're going to get your ass whooped. Because, you can mitigate that, you can reduce that. But the thing I've learned, the only way you really leave the game is if you don't keep buying, because you can buy your way right out.
So you buy your way out of the problem is what you're essentially saying?
Yeah, because if the market's coming down, guess what else comes down? The deal flow. There's more deal flow. There's better deals. And even though it doesn't feel good, you just have to keep buying the resources and keeping access to capital so you can always stay in the game.
It's interesting that he says that, because when the market took its turn in April of 22, we were in the middle of our show. We had just wrapped and we were selling off our the last half of the inventory from season 2.
Yeah.
And that's where we got our teeth kicked in, because we were holding 5 really, really high-end projects and everything was just stale. And so we got our legs chopped off, right? We lost $500,000. Interestingly enough, if we had held onto those properties 6 months, and while things kind of figured themselves out, and people realized that there was going to be this inventory shortage because the rate lock happened and things started to normalize in the market, then prices started to come back, and we actually wouldn't have lost any money if we had just held. And so there's that other part is, do you guys, Jerry and James, both, do you guys ever get into those spots where you're tempted to hold on to something and not just take the hit?
I think you always want to look at, how do you exit the property? And, for me, if I bought something that was a purpose to be a flip, there's no way I'm going to be, especially the high end, right? That's where, the good thing about the big deals is you can make a lot of money. But the bad thing is, like, when you're flipping a $2 million house and the market comes down 10%, that's $200,000 that comes right off the top.
Well, Jerry just moves in, right? You just move in when that happens, right, dude?
No, I don't. But I think part of the, I definitely got caught with my pants down on some flips. Luckily, knowing how to structure your financing, what I did on a couple of mine is I just resold them on land contract. But it was because I had my financing on my front end structured in a way to where I could hold on to that financing. And then I talked with Pace about this. We actually I think we did a couple of videos on this, but rather than take the haircut and just sell it at a big discount, I just waited it out. I actually sold them at a higher price on land contract and waited until those buyers came through, and they've cashed me out by now on those because markets come back up and they got their financing, they seasoned them out or whatever. But that brings me really though to the question: if you were to ask me, how do I de-riskify? There's 2 things I like to do. I like to be structured correctly on the capital. That's everything, because if you have the wrong capital structure and things don't go right, you go over budget, takes longer to sell, then that financing can eat your deal alive. So a lot of people lose money on the financing, not on the numbers, meaning they're stuck in the deal for way longer than they thought. And now that carrying cost just eats them alive. There's that. And then also, I'm just a fundamentalist. Like, I really don't want to hold and flip. I don't want to own something and flip it unless I've got really good margins, and those margins have room for error. So I want to look at it and go, man, if I totally blow this one, I still want to make money. If I can, when this is done and I say, man, I screwed this deal so bad, but I still made money. That's kind of how I want to land on those deals. And so, like, when you look at my big Puerto Rico project I'm doing, I'm trying to sell this thing for, I don't know yet, 7 to 10 million. I'm all into this project for around 3.2, maybe 3.5. And the comps in my neighborhood for old and busted built in the 90s is 5 million. And I'm going to be new construction, bigger, all the things. So in my mind, if I blow this deal, I'll sell it for 6. if I hit it out of the park, it could be over 7, 8, anywhere up there. And so in a way, and I've got my capital right. So in a way, it's sort of not really that risky because I have room if I go over budget or it takes me longer. And if I have to take a haircut and let it go for 6, well, I'm all in for 3.5. You know, I'm okay. And so that's how you do. I think that's how you do the big, scary, risky projects is just dumb it down to where no matter how bad you screw this up, you should make money.
Yeah, the bigger the deal, the more buffers you got to put in there.
Yeah.
Because that allows you, like if I think the market could be slower in 12 months, then I got to buy deeper. And there just needs to be more padding.
Is it a percentage that you're looking at? What do you
Mm-hmm.
like for everybody that's wholesaling out here?
Yep.
Put them in the mind of a cash buyer that's looking for these properties. How are you? What scares you? What are you like? Okay, I'm seeing some trends here that I don't like. I'm going to start messing with the percentage that I'm looking to get,
or getting out of
or
like
spread,
a luxury asset class and maybe going into a more bread and butter kind of lower cost price point.
Yeah, and no matter what the market will buy any type of deal. It just right now, like we just bought a mobile home. And then we just bought a $2 million house in Seattle.
Right.
And as long as the margins work. And so I buy on annualized return. That's just, so when I buy a flip, if I got to put $100,000 in that house and I can flip that thing in 6 months, I want to make a 35% return. So I want to make $35,000. So on the bigger deals, I want to make 70% because they're going to go a year long. And if the bigger that margin, if the houses come down and they get compressed, I can still absorb that cost.
Sure.
And so, because the longer you're in a deal, the more riskier it is, because you don't know what could happen in the market. Rates shot up at the highest they've ever shot up in the history in a very short amount of time. That cost Scottsdale, Seattle, San Francisco. We got busted for 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
You time it wrong, you're in the wrong.
You take
deal.
losses at that time, or were you safe?
Oh no, I lost about $400,000 in 90 days. On 3 different deals because they were $3 million houses that all came down about 5% and they went a little long, and that's just the way it went. And to go back to your question, do we keep those as a whole? No, because I can take that. What it did do is I still got cash back out of those deals.
You bought your way out of it.
We bought it, and then we were able to, because everyone freaked out, we were able, instead of getting a 35% return deal, we were getting like 90% return deals. And so we could reload back at pricing that we couldn't buy at before.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, we made that money probably back in 4 months, 5 months, and then we're in the green. And so that's why I don't keep them. I'd rather get my capital back, because if I can get my capital back, I can redeploy and deploy into better deals.
So when you say 35% on $100,000, as you're an example, is that $100,000 your down payment and the fix-up cost in your mind? The money that's coming out, that's the money that you want to get the 35% on?
Yeah, it's all cash out of pocket. So
out of
down
pocket.
Payment, carry costs, insurance, taxes, every.
Do you think
dollar
wholesalers should look at that? You know what I mean? From a cash buyer standpoint, you're like, okay, I think it's $35 a square foot. It's going to cost $50,000 to fix this up. 20% down on this is going to be another, $20,000. We've got, 70,000 in here. They're going to be looking to make 35% on this. That's where I should be selling this deal at.
Which perspective are you asking from?
From a wholesaler's standpoint.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at a deal and that James is like, okay, I need 35% and it's going to cost him $70,000 to put in there.
I think it depends, right? Because you're going to get guys that are going to want deeper margins like Jimmy over here. And there's other people that are going to have different ways to monetize it, right? And so we've sold deals that I know he would never buy. I just know. But then there's other deals that I know people that would never buy them that he would take because they're bigger deals. Like the big luxury stuff scares 90% of my buyers.
Sure.
He's running right towards it.
Right.
For him, that's like, he's like, yeah, that's where I make $1 million on one deal. Whereas the other dudes that I sell houses to, they're like, listen, if I make 20,000 on this thing, I'm happy. Okay, cool. So it's a different risk tolerance. It's a different type of asset class. It's a different time schedule. And you have to be able to think like all of them in order to find a good curated inventory of properties to sell as a wholesaler.
So the more buyers And the more you know what they're looking for, the more money you can make.
Absolutely. And knowing guys
For real.
like James, knowing
Right?
guys
that make sense,
like
guys?
Jerry, you know,
Right?
and really understanding the nuance between what they're looking for and how to speak their language. Because you get on a phone call with James Daynard and you don't know what you're talking about, and you start saying stupid stuff like, oh yeah, you know, you could renovate this in $200,000, and he's looking at this thing and he's like, this is a $500,000 job. Right? You start misquoting, you start, you know, just getting it wrong. He's going to sniff you out, and either one of two things. He's going to eat your lunch and take the deal at a way better price than you were hoping to get for it. Or B, he's going to wait you out. He's going to let you walk away from that deal. He's going to take it. Not to say that that's the guy he is, but that's what that buyer does, because they understand that most of the time a wholesaler's not going to have the wherewithal to take down a $2 million house.
Right.
But you create a good relationship with a guy like James, where you're honest, transparent, and he understands that maybe you don't know all the things, but he likes you, he wants to work with you, and he wants to create a relationship with you where he's like, okay, you go out and bird dog for me. I'll be the guy that you come to, and I will backstop your deals with a good number. And I know that you do that for a lot of people too. In the Astro community, they'll just reach out to James and say, hey, here's the thing. What's my buy price? James will give it to them, and then they feel confident when they go and speak to a homeowner or a real estate agent that the number that they're giving them is one that can be closed on.
It is true though, Jamil, what you said about the luxury. I remember I did this flip in Chandler, Arizona, and it was partially built, new construction, seller committed suicide. It was a terrible situation. Well, New Western had the deal. And they called me up and they said it was a 600 buy, needed like I think it needed another 600 into it. You know, it was that kind of deal, big house. And he called me, the New Western guy, and he's like, you're one of 5 people and we have a big list, and you're one of 5 people that we can call about this deal. And they ended up saying, we don't want to get in the way. We're going to let you go direct. Give us $5,000 if you put the deal together. Cause I'm like, I can't talk to you and then talk to them, cause there's so much here I got to figure out. So let me go direct, and how do we work it out? But it was interesting that big wholesale outfit New Western in Phoenix did not have very many people to call on a deal like that. So if you're a wholesaler, most shy away from that. I think, man, find the players in town that like that big hairy stuff, the big projects, and get to know them, because you can build in some nice margins on those deals if you know what they're looking for and how to understand their buy box. I mean, that's, to me, if I was in James's market, I'd be going to James saying, James, help me understand your formula so I bring you something that fits. Tell me your buy box. Tell me how you run your numbers. What do I need to look for? What do I need to bring it to you at? And what kind of stuff do you have an appetite for? That would be the smartest way a wholesaler could work with James in his markets.
Yeah, now I know who to call if I got a deal in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, there it is.
That
Load him up.
That was a gap in my Rolodex.
Listen, all the crypto bros are going to make him a fortune. He's going to just start flipping these multi-million-dollar properties.
They're coming.
All these new crypto bazillionaires that have all the
They're
Bitcoin.
coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Jerry,
They're coming.
you timed this perfect, bro.
Yeah, they're coming. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you imagine that?
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine taking a swing on a vacant lot and you're building you're dropping $3 million, and then all of a sudden Bitcoin goes through the roof?
Through the roof.
Come on,
All
man.
those dudes are hanging
Jerry's
out there,
got
driving Lambos, wearing cargo shorts. It's perfect.
He's got like a crystal ball or something, dude.
Are
I'm
cargo
telling
shorts back in?
If you're in Puerto Rico,
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah, it says dirty Miami.
I love Miami though.
Basically, but clean Miami, right?
Yeah.
Jerry's just like this guy. Did you see my suitcase exploded in Puerto Rico?
No.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
How?
It just, once you get to Puerto Rico, everything degrades.
The salt. Yeah. The humidity. Yeah. They duct taped it up for him.
They had to duct tape my bag up for me.
What kind of bag was it?
It was just a suit. A second time I ever used it. I walk up to and this was the worst part.
Rolling through the airport. With
Yeah,
the duct
roll.
tape
And
suitcase.
I looked destitute. It was hilarious. But I walk up to the counter and I'm like, I don't know what to say. My bag's about to explode. And she just looked at me like, you can't say that at the airport, sir. I'm like, oh no. Yeah, it was not a good day, but yeah, I didn't.
No,
go to
don't feel
jail.
bad. That's how all our suitcases look, just like that one.
So good. Oh man.
So you made it though. I mean,
Yeah,
they
I
duct
didn't
taped
get
it up
arrested.
and
They
that was
duct
it?
taped it. Yeah, I'll share. Maybe I'll share a picture. You guys can put it up
That's
here. It's
hilarious.
stupid. It was really funny. Yeah.
So big projects right now, James. What are you doing?
You know, I do them all. I love them all
Mhm.
as long as the return's there. I mean, I literally just bought a mobile home in the middle of nowhere because it's systematic, it's easy, we can get through it. But we got some really big ones going on right now. We just listed the most expensive flip we did in Newport Beach, and so where
What'd you list that at 6?
9 mil,
Oh my God, I'm so off.
No.
$9 million.
9 million. So that was
It's a waterfront though, right?
Water View. So
Waterview,
Harbor View,
okay.
we're right above PCH. Killer House. We
Yeah.
paid 5-6 for it. We put in 1-3, and then we listed at 9. We're getting good activity. So
It's one of the nicest homes.
telling me, yeah.
I was watching the finishes, and that's when I was like, this guy is a professional. Like, you know, we flip houses, and I think we do a nice job. And you know, every year my sister and I will go to Los Angeles and see what are the really luxury homes doing. I just got to look at what James is doing, honestly, because like you guys, you go a step ahead, and you're super ahead of the curve when it comes to trends. Let me ask, where do you find inspiration for these types of design elements? Because what's really cool is you can take those design elements that you put in a $9 million Newport Beach house and find inexpensive ways to parallel them in less expensive renovations or projects, maybe in Scottsdale or somewhere else. Where are you getting your inspiration from? Are you getting them from magazines, Architect Digests? Like who do you talk to for this kind of, for the goods on where things are trending in terms of aesthetic?
You know, it's for us, we have a good pulse on the market. So we know what people, you know, at any given time in Seattle, we're flipping. Like right now, we probably have 40 homes on market. We got another 150 in construction.
How many of those did you murder out on the outside?
Oh man, that's been my theme lately though. The murdered out split level with the black frosty doors, black windows, black the Darth Vader look.
Yeah. I'm about to spray my entire house right now. It's white, but it's going black here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just a hint of natural wood.
Yeah.
Pop that thing out and some copper gutters on it.
That looks great. You patina them and copper, so you're not going not rusted metal, you're going copper.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
it's kind of what's on trend, right? Like, you know, for a while, grays and whites were in.
Yeah.
And it goes
2015.
warmers.
Yeah, 2015 was all grays and before. So 2008 till like 2012, it was travertine and espresso.
Yep.
2012 to 2017, it was gray and white. And then 2018 till like, you know, a little while ago, it was like white and black. And then it went just black. And now it's kind of going into what, more of the earthy tones? Like where are you kind of seeing the design trends headed now?
Yeah, people want contemporary but more warmer tones
Yeah.
throughout. And so that's just the buyer feedback we get in that market. And so based on what buyers are liking, what they don't like about the house, we get real-time data to switch it. Hey, it feels too cold for them. Okay, we started hearing that a lot in like 2015. It's a little cold, a little sterile, because they were starting to feel like hospitals, like gray floors, white walls, white cabinets. And so we'll kind of stay ahead with those trends. But, you know, we're always looking at different types of design. A lot of times you can go to Europe first to look at design trends. We follow Europe's fashion and architectural style. And so you can see kind of what they're doing there. And then I'm a big, like this $9 million flip. That's a different price point, different quality, different amenities in this house. This is not what I'm used to doing. And so what I did is I went and toured, you know, I had to go tour 15 to $20 million houses going, what do these houses have? What is the theme? What do people like? And I'm a big, like, if I get into any market, like we just moved to Scottsdale. I don't know this market like I know Seattle. I'm going to go tour homes in Paradise Valley, Arcadia, DC, Rent, wherever the areas I'm going to be buying. I'm going to be walking through those homes, figuring out what needs to go into them. And also what is the general feel and trend. And so good ways to do that is like getting schematics from new builds, because they're usually on trend too, that you'll see like new houses posting their plans on there with the, that's usually the trend coming up because they're building that 2 years into the road. And so those are good ways to get designs. And then just also networking with other like wholesalers, investors, to just talking to them and going, hey, what's working for you? What's not working? But then you get this beautiful thing and then you got to figure out how to do it for a fraction of the price.
Right.
And that comes down to creativity. Like in Newport, we had these doors, really liked them. I hadn't seen anything like that before. I got quotes from $800 a door. for an interior door.
Mm.
So I decided to make it myself. We took a shaker door and we built the door with MDF and paneling, and we built it for like $350. And so it's about finding that look and then replicating it for a cost-effective way. That is like the secret sauce to renovating.
Love it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, when you think about flipping, anybody can over renovate, make it the most beautiful home, and lose money. Anybody, it's so easy to spend money and make it amazing. The genius is in being able to do it on budget and make money. Like, how do you figure out what you can get away with? The way I look at every flip and every market is there's things you can get away with that the market will forgive you, and there's things that the market won't forgive you, and you'll get a lot of bang for your buck. And so the genius is figuring that out and where's that sweet spot. And this is all the way up. This is high end and even down to like your normal size houses. So like one thing that we do, James, is we'll go to LA and we'll look at a $20 million spec, and then we'll take the pictures of that spec and we'll go to our designer and we'll say, I want that chandelier, but I want a $500 version of that $5,000 chandelier, you know? And so what you're doing is those guys spent $250,000 on their designer, and you're basically poaching their designer on your budget model because you can find knockoff versions that look just as good for a fraction of the price. And so thinking about every last line item like it matters. Like what am I paying for this, and am I getting a return for it? Otherwise, I got to find a way to save money, because all these line items add up very quickly and you're over budget and you're losing money on the deal. So it really is those finite things, and they all add up.
Speaking of things who lost something, Pace.
Hi.
Where's half your face, bro?
Oh, somebody said I was going through for the Santa Claus look, and I was like, all right.
Oh my God. That was it? That's what got him. It's always a comment from somebody, right? Like what made me change the chin strap? Do you remember the comment?
It looked like your chin had a chin or something.
It said that guy's double chin is growing its own beard.
That's so mean. People are so mean.
That was such a good one, though, man. I was like, wow, that's a roast.
I remember when that came out.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I gotta fix this. This is stupid.
Jamil, I did a podcast one time, and the camera was too low, and I'm sitting there in the chair, and like my pants are like nice and in there, and this comment's like, dude, your pants are too tight. I'm like, okay. I'm just trying to do.
Wins again. How you doing, Pacer? Where you been? How's your challenge going?
Amazing. 7 days, 23 contracts. Unbelievable. It was great.
Well, that's a run.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Yeah, we helped 10 newbies get their first deal on my team, but 102 teams were competing in the challenge. I think 700 people got their first deal in this challenge, so that was a big deal. And then one of the people on my team are buying their personal home from one of the deals that we got, Subto, which is great. And then I decided that I was going to pull a stunt in second week of December. I'm going to go live on a park bench for a week and rebuild myself in 7 days and document the whole thing. So that starts on December 8th. So
I hope it's not somewhere cold, Pace.
It's going to be in Puerto Rico.
You're gonna melt.
We're not going to see Pace ever again. Yeah.
No. Have you selected the market, Pace, where you're going to do this at?
Yeah, wherever James has a flip going on that I could live in.
Oh, they got good squatter rules there. You can live there for 2 years. You're good.
In Seattle, you don't even have to get a mortgage or sign anything. You just move in and it's yours.
Yeah, you just pee in the corner of the house and it is yours.
Yeah.
That's the law.
We got a good question.
What's Kathy did at her place, she marked her corners, and then a little while later, the house fairy gave him the house.
Pace, how are you going to keep people from coming and hanging out with you? You're going to have a whole group of your community on the bench with you the whole time.
I know everybody keeps asking me, like, name the spot, we'll be there. I'm like, dude, I can't have 5,000 people hanging on me while I'm doing the challenge. Like, I need to be able to actually do the challenge, So. Here's a good question right here. I think this is a really good one for Brent to answer. I'm getting this actually frequently a lot because I think PPL, I've seen Brent talk about PPL quite a bit lately, the last like 4 or 5 months. So a lot of people are DMing me this very specific question. Brent, what do you think? Raphael has $1,000 right now, nothing to lose other than $1,000. Should I do PPL to get my first deal or keep calling agents in what seems to be like a slow market in Kansas City, Missouri?
Yeah, I still think that that's only going to get you about 5 to maybe 7 leads. It just depends. You probably need 15. So if you have $2,000, it might be a good option. Only if you have a sales background, only if you know how to effectively communicate with property owners, pre-qualify them, and make sure that you get it in front of them as soon as possible. So there's a lot to inbound leads. Inbound leads,
You got to be good.
you got to be good. Or you're just and when you say you have nothing to lose, you have $1,000 to lose. Like you have $1,000 to lose. Like don't go in with that mentality. I want you to go in with like I don't want to lose anything, right? And maybe it's just you have nothing to lose with like I'll get experience and I understand that, but I would go to Pace's challenges. I would go to Jamil and Jerry's YouTube channel and watch all the incredible stuff that they're doing with on market and working with real estate agents and do that. I would rather you get a deal first and keep that $1,000 in your pocket and then have that experience and then start spending some money to get the inbound. That's what I would do. Now, is it going to take longer? Yes. Are you going to have to challenge yourself more and speak with more people? Absolutely. But that's part of the process. Like how many conversations have you had with property owners? Right?
Go for years sometimes.
Right. And so when you were starting out, were you just all of a sudden they're like, hey, here's a big fund of money. Go do whatever you want. Go buy and flip multi-million-dollar properties, or how'd you start?
I started with probably about $1,000 in my pocket.
Right.
And it was about door, does no one door knock anymore?
People are. It's coming back,
old
bro.
school. I'm a
Yeah,
door knocker
me
through
too.
and through.
Yeah.
Give me a stack of leads, go bang on some doors.
Right.
And let me go find an opportunity. But that was not a first enjoyable 9 months. I got screamed at a lot.
Right.
And then, you have to kind of learn that motion. But I mean, yeah, $1,000. That's not a lot of cash, but it's enough cash to get you moving to the next door.
Yep.
And it's enough to get you to that meetup group, to meet more wholesalers, or to join a challenge. It's about getting exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, you go bang enough doors, you will get a deal.
Yep. And there's a great resource called the realsupermarket.com. The realsupermarket.com. They sell all the other people that are selling you probate and inherited leads get it from this company. They literally just buy it from this company, double the price, and sells it to them. Yeah.
What is it called?
All that stuff. The realsupermarket.com.
Thank you.
Yeah.
James, what do you talk about in this book?
The house flipping framework.
Yeah. Tell I mean, this cover is phenomenal. Tell us about it.
So you can put your $1,000 to work and buy it, I think, for $18.
There you go.
Amazon, right?
Yeah.
It's, so the house flipping framework, it covers that. You don't need money to start in this business. And that is the big challenge that we all have, right? Like, you see people making money, they're spending money, they're getting leads, wholesaling, flipping, whatever it is. And you don't need it. You need drive and you need a great network behind you.
Yep. And
also an ability to create solutions. And the book is about creating solutions. And that is what I've learned in this business for almost 20 years is it's not about selling. It's not about finding the best deal you're going to rip $1 million out of. It's about creating the solution to putting you in the plan to put you in that situation. And so it starts with the basics of real estate, which is building your team, like how to flip a house. The core foundation for flipping a home is building the right team around you, from building your infrastructure of your contractors, your title reps, your escrow officers, but to your deal finders. Like that $1,000, when you get that deal finders with your wholesalers, your networking, your brokers, you can take that $1,000 and turn it into $20,000 in a matter of 48 hours. And so it gives you the foundation for getting your flipping business going. And a lot of that starts with finding a good deal and finding the deal and then preparing yourself to get into the flips. Because where people get the most sideways on a flip is because they hear about it and they go, hey, this guy bought this, fixed it, and sold it. And they made a lot of money. But there's so much that goes into the middle part of that.
Yeah.
And when I was 25 years old, I got my clock cleaned in 2008. And because I didn't have the foundation. And so it goes over how to build a flipping business, not a hobby. And that's
love it.
Producing the infrastructure with contracts, hiring contractors, how to vet them correctly, how to protect yourself, how to fund your deal, whether it's hard money or using bank financing, how to use it, the leverage correctly, and then how to take you all the way through that process of designing the project, managing the contractors, because we all know that is the most enjoyable part.
Let's go to the contractors, because one of the things I think that keeps people away from flipping houses, and something that I've struggled with in the past. We've got a great crew now, but like contractors are pretty much running Ponzi schemes. For the most part, right? Because they're taking money for the next job to pay for the one that they're working on right now, because they're horrible at money management and understanding like what's going on. What's like one way to make sure that you don't get burnt by a contractor? Because I'm not calling them Bernie Madoff, because they're not really thinking in that way. But if you're using money from the next job to complete the job you're doing right now, that's a classic Ponzi, right? How do you stop yourself from getting into situations like that with contractors? I think that's what scares a lot of people from flipping houses. Is just, what do I do with these contractors? They run away from people all the time with their money.
Yeah, and that's the hard part about flipping. You have third parties that you're dependent on to facilitate this transaction. And first thing is you got to vet them correctly. So we find contractors. We talk about in the book, creative ways to do it. Like we do a lot of permit tracking. We track people when they're pulling permits, what investors they work with, what job sites, and how fast they move. But then we have to pull their license, their bond, and I want to see how long they've been in business for. And if they haven't been in business longer than 24 months, where were they working prior? And we do background checks on them, because if they've had 5 general contracting businesses in 12 years, that's a red flag. That there's a reason they shut them down. And so it's about hiring the right person, but then it's also about not getting too deep in with one contractor. I've lost thousands of dollars because I found the perfect guy. He's awesome. And then I start funding him too much. And now I'm too deep into him. He unravels and I got 6 job sites on fire. And so we only hire a general for 1 to 2 sites. Then we hire another one. That's why it's all about the resources, having that bench of people that can operate it. And so don't get too deep in with one person. Because if that person has the best intentions, like you said, they're not Bernie Madoff. They want to do a good job.
They really do.
They just can't run it right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's where you can get yourself in big trouble. So it's all about having numerous resources, not getting in deep with one person too deep, and spreading it out, because that's how you can really mitigate those fires.
Awesome. Tracking permits. I never even thought like
I'm a sneaky.
That's next level, like investigation over there. So, I mean, you're going to licensed guys with, in business for longer than a couple of years. These guys got to be expensive.
Well, it's about finding the right ones and then molding it too. I can take an expensive contractor and break down their job site, and maybe I only use them for 30%. I call it the bundle method, where I have a really good contractor come in, they're going to demo, frame, window, roof, get me ready to go. And then if I have a bunch of electricians and plumbers, I can run them through very easily. And so I use the expensive guys for certain work, and then I can offset that cost by plugging in cheaper electricians and plumbers that they don't have access to drive that cost back down. And so we bundle out a lot of our job sites, because it allows us to get things moving fast, get it set up right, and then we can run subs in strategically. Like there's no point in me having a general contractor put in flooring, because I can have a flooring company do it.
Mm-hmm.
Cabinet company, same thing. Drywall, paint. Those are easy trades to hire, whereas the expensive guys can do the hard work for me, and then we'll come finish it. Finishing is the easy part.
That's pretty smart.
Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, I think where a lot of people get messed up with contractors is they pay for work not yet completed. So we follow a really strict policy where we buy all the materials. I put them on my credit card, get all the points, fly my family back and forth, several times a year for free. So because what contractors will tell you is, hey, I need money up front so I can buy materials. Well, so we eliminate that. It's more work because we now have to separate their pricing from materials and labor. We have to buy it and then they pick it up. So it's a bit of a hassle, but it keeps us from getting what I call upside down with our contractors. And then we won't pay up front for them to get started. We'll pay you high and tight, we call it, where we'll pay you every Friday, start Monday, work till Friday. We'll pay you what you complete by Friday. If you need draws like that, like if you can't float it. But the big thing for us is we just don't want to ever get upside down. As soon as you're upside down with a contractor, meaning you've paid more to them than they've completed in work, all of a sudden you go from running the job to them running the job, because now you're at their mercy. They call the shots. They tell you when they're coming, what's going on. and they know they're behind you, right? So then they can pull stuff on you. They can take the day off. What are you gonna do? Fire them? Shoot, I'm there. I'd have to pay more money if I hire a new guy, so I better just deal with them. And so if that's where you get into a lot of trouble, and if you avoid that, then you kind of stay in control of the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is like, don't be afraid to fire, because we're an expensive debt. Every day that goes by can be $200, $400, $600, maybe $800 a day. And if I wait 2 weeks because I'm just hoping I'm not going to lose the money, you're going to lose the money anyways. And so that's the one thing when I got to pull the trigger on somebody, you just pull the trigger because you just got to move on, take your lump and try to mitigate that loss because you don't want to be stuck on that job site.
Good stuff. Like for real, if any of you guys are thinking about moving into fixing and flipping as a vertical in your business, these are really important skills to think about and to bring into your business model.
Are you buying from wholesalers? How are you finding your deals?
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm a big proponent. Wholesaler, we buy a lot of stuff on market too. That's why I'm a big advocate of having the right team behind you. Because if I have more contractors and I can get it done 30 grand cheaper than you can, I can go buy more deals than you.
Sure.
That deal we made $1 million, $1.3 million on, that was on market. Anybody could have bought that for 9 months. It's about putting the right plan on it and controlling your costs. And so we take deals that no one wants. We get the leftover slop. They're not magical deals. They're just deals that need to be broken down and constructed right. The wholesalers, a lot of guys bring us in deals. We do a lot of things, and this is great for all wholesalers. You can make more money with flippers when you partner up with them. Like we give an option to any wholesaler that they can forfeit their wholesale fee and invest it in our deal and make the same return as us. So like, let's say I got to have 100 grand in that deal and the wholesaler's making 20. And I go, on my perform, I got to have 100 grand cash out of pocket. They can take that 20 grand and invest it into that 100 grand. They'll take it up front. And then if I'm making a 35% return or a 50% return, they're making the same return on their money. And so by doing that, it empowers people to grow. Yeah. And so we get a lot of deal flow through wholesalers.
How many people take you up on that, honestly, though?
Because
we want that money fast. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm like, I don't trust you. I'm not gonna, not you, but I'm just like a cat. I'd be like, I'm gonna get my check from the title company. I'm not getting my check from you going, oh, I can't pay you that as much as I thought it was. This was a tight deal type of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh no, you got to do it with the right person because the cost can drive. But as long as you do good business.
Oh yeah, bro. I've seen that story. I warned my bros back in the day when they got into one of their first deals into like a kind of a hold your hand sort of deal. Remember that, trainers? And I'm like, guys, you're never gonna see that money. And did you see that money? Yeah. Oh, nice. Did you get the return too? Yeah. So it there you go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. Right.
And you got to do it with someone that has a reputation that cares about, right?
100%.
Like if you burn one wholesaler, I mean, that's why you don't go around wholesalers. You don't wait them out. You empower them to get the deal done.
Yeah.
Like if a guy brings me a deal, I can't do it. I'm not gonna wait him out. I'm gonna give him the number I can do the deal at.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is like with that, like if a wholesaler wants 10 grand up front, I'll let them put 10 grand in the deal. So we leave it up to them.
So they can take some, if they need to like pay some bills and be like, hey man, I can't put the whole 20 in, but I'll take 5 out and I'll invest 15 into the deal. You'll still let them participate?
We'll do whatever to help them grow. Cause
that's pretty great, dude.
Well, yeah. Cause if they can go let's say they were going to make 20 and they make a 50% return. Now they just made 30.
Right.
That's huge.
Well, they're going to bring you more deals.
Yes, you're building partners,
for
not
sure.
Transactions. I'm a big partner person, not a transaction.
That's
person.
awesome.
I love that. That's really cool.
That's really good.
William Hill says, you guys are the best. Thank you. Started door knocking pre-foreclosures in June, and I've helped 6 homeowners avoid foreclosure. Wholesale 4 sub-2 deals for $48,000, all while on active duty. Wow. Let's give it up for William, guys.
Thank you for your service, William. Yeah. Thank you, William.
In addition to, helping 6 homeowners avoid foreclosure, and was probably able to get those 4 sub-2 deals done with some incredible interest rates as well. So there's multiple people that got helped in that situation, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, that's awesome. All while on active duty. He's done
all while on active duty,
6
serving
deals.
The country. Incredible. What's your excuse? Oh, I don't know how to skip trace.
It's always an excuse, right?
There's always one.
Yeah, bust through those excuses.
That is awesome.
So I've been looking at the market lately, and I made a post today on my Instagram about inventory starting to get a little bit juicy in specific markets. Specifically, I noticed in Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Colorado, Arizona, Utah, we're in a buyer's market. There's inventory just sitting on the market right now. And it's a little nerve-wracking, right? The way that I see it, for a guy who's got a few flips going right now, I got to be super aggressive with my pricing and make sure that I'm not overpricing or trying to set a new comp or anything like that. But from the other side of that, as a wholesaler, you know, I saw this exact same thing happen in 2022 when the rates shot up, and we started to get inventory started to creep up, and we started to get into that, like, where, you know, are we in a buyer's market or seller's market, kind of in the middle there. And I was able to buy some incredible deals. Like I stole some houses at that time, and all of those have gone up significantly in value. James, your opinion in the current situation that we're dealing with inventory starting to kind of creep up in certain markets, not all of them, but in some. What's your strategy in a market like that? Do you aggressively buy? Are you even buying deeper than you normally would? How do you deal with homeowners who haven't come to terms with where the market is? What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, because it's judging risk, right? Inventory is creeping up, and it goes through. It's weird. It's like the market revs and cools. Like before the election, there wasn't anybody coming through houses,
right?
And then all of a sudden, we sold off 70% of our inventory right after the election.
I mean, there was a dramatic jolt of energy when the election finished, and then it just, I don't know what it was, but they, for some reason, shot rates back up. I don't understand why, but they shot rates back up, and then the buying activity just stopped. I know it's seasonality as well, coming into Thanksgiving and Christmas, but why was it so short-lived? And is that evidence that maybe something around the corner, or are they trying to set up the next administration for a little bit of a hiccup?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with, like, Trump's policy. It is, tariffs. So they think it could be inflationary for the next 12 months, because if he does put in tariffs, and that's kind of why the bond market's doing it's kind of reacting weird.
Yeah.
And so it's because it's not just about the Fed rates, it's about the bond, like what's the demand? What are they trading at? And so that is, from what I've read, is why that's kind of going up that way. My whole thing is, every time they talk about it, the opposite happens. And so for me, I'm going, okay, what do I know sells? And when I go into a market that I feel is riskier, I don't get outside my skis. I don't buy weird. I don't buy stuff that are going to cause a lot of objections on a property. I want to focus on the core basics. So like right now in Seattle, the best product that we can be buying is houses that have 4 bedrooms, 3 baths when we're finished, have a little bit of a yard, because they can house a family, and they're priced between 1.1 and 1.4, because that's dual income tech. And we know no matter what's going on in the market, they will be buying that inventory up.
Yeah.
And so I try to focus on where the most demand is when I go into hairier markets. I don't know if the market's going to be up or down by the end of the year. And if it goes up, I'm going to feel really good. If it goes down, I'm going to have to buy more. But I can focus on what I know sells. And so anytime we're going into a transitional market, I think that's what I always try to focus on. Do I have a good house that everyone wants? Do I want to list the $12 million house in Paradise Valley right now? No, there's a lot of inventory there. And so a lot of what I look at too is, what's the absorption rate? How many actives are there? How many are going pending every month? And if it's well out of whack, that means I'm throwing in a needle in a haystack for a comp at that point. And if the absorption rate's higher, then I can go, this is where the buyer demand is. And so we try to focus more on that than anything else. Where's the transactions? You say this all the time. Like, if you want to get hits, you got to play in traffic. That absorption rate is the number one thing that we're watching. Now, Fed aside, rates aside, we know what's getting sold. And if I play in that market, I can really mitigate my risk.
Where are some of the places where, people who are wanting to understand where the traffic points are, where's the demand clusters? in specific markets so that they can focus their marketing efforts? Where would they find that type of data, James?
And so, there's lots of different softwares out there. I'm even talking about the book, like having that broker on your team that is your number one broker, no matter what you go to, is essential.
So real estate agent.
My real estate agents will pull me whatever reports I want. Hey, in this zip code, I want all the pendings, what the average price range that are selling for. What is the most activity going on? They can give me that report and I can look at the data. Your title rep is also your best friend. It is one of the most underutilized people on your team. They can give you they can give you sellers, they can give you buyers, they can give you data transaction, but they also can give you trends. Where are the most escrows and closings happening? Because they know it's their business to know all these. And so a lot of times I can call my title rep and say, hey, give me the zip codes and the average median home price that is selling at the highest transaction volume. And he'll give me the median home price per zip code of where the most movement is. That tells me the price points that I can be more aggressive in. The ones that are slower, I'm not going to not buy, but I'm going to buy deeper at that point.
Well, Jamil's a genius. He does a show with Fidelity. Title, right? And it talks about this all the time. And you're so connected with them. And really understand where the market's at and really understand, where are the investors looking to buy.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for me, especially with Keeg Lee behind us, to understand where we're focused and to be able to educatedly give that information to our buyer pool. Because often, if you are an educated wholesaler, which buyers are looking for, like if you're as a buyer, you're looking for a wholesaler who understands your market and understands the nuance of days on market, demand, absorption rates, all the things that you speak of. And if they can speak to you intelligently and say, hey, look, man, I've been looking at the market and I just popped up a house right now and got it under contract in an area where days on market is like 40% lower than everywhere else in the surrounding areas. Also, we're still finding that there's, price increases over here, which is kind of not happening in these other sectors. Would you be interested in buying that? Like you would be very, very keen to take a look at that deal. Why? Because I sold it to you with all the right details. Yeah, Jerry.
I love what Hugh Boyd does. Jamil and I spent time with him last week. He's $1 million a year producer. And what he does is they wholesale obviously at a high level and they go back on all of their previous transactions and they track the sold data to their cash buyers when they flip. And then they calculate what's the actual real-time formula that they're buying at today. And so I think it was like whatever, 78% or whatever, but they're tracking that real time. So they know exactly where the market's trending at any given time because they're actually following a very specific formula. And like, that's the part of this everybody thinks they somehow get to skip. And that's what separates the men from the boys and the women from the girls, right? It's what are you doing to really understand the data? And the data doesn't lie. The market doesn't lie. So if you know how to read those stats and understand that data, then it'll tell you everything you need to know about what's going on.
For both of you guys, pendings kind of tell me where the market's trending. It's a great little rhyme, right? Are you guys paying attention to pendings and how important is that to you when you're making a decision to make a purchase?
Yeah, we call all the pendings in and I ask them, I'm like, look, is this close to list price? Is this, and you can figure it out. Like if it's been sitting on the market for 9 months and it goes pending, there's probably a discount going on there. Whereas if it got listed 3 days ago and it's pending, it's probably close to full price. But nothing is more accurate than the pendings, like Jamil said, because that's going to be the newest comps when you go to sell your property as a flipper. That's going to be the newest data. That's the newest sold comps coming out soon. And so you really want to be tracking that pending data.
Yeah, I only care about the pendings.
You only care about the pendings.
Yeah, because if it's a good product, because
you guys hear this?
That is today's market.
How many of you guys are checking pendings when you're looking at your wholesale deals?
Yep.
How many of you guys are only looking at solds? Just be honest. Yeah. So
explain what a pending is.
A pending is it's under contract and it's ready. Not under contract. It's pending means that it's the contingencies are gone and it's set to close. And so that is going to let you know that this property is going to be a sold comp within the next 30 days. And if that sells or closes anywhere close to the number it's pending at, that will be your next comp. It'll be the freshest one that an appraiser is going to hold on to. So it's super important. And if you're finding that those pending prices are lower than your max comp that you're basing your ARV off of, do you think you're going to have an easy time or a hard time selling that wholesale deal? Right? You got to think about that kind of stuff. And when you're making these offers, and maybe you got to be a little bit more aggressive, and it gives you a talking point to speak to your agent about. Say, hey, look, I want to show you something. Let's look at the pendings in the street. You see where everything's pending at? You're showing me a comp here that's $50,000 higher than where things are pending at right now that are all remodeled. I don't think I can make this work at the number that you think that this is going to trade at. We've got to be substantially lower. Now, if you don't write the offer, great. Live to play another day. Wait a week. Wait 2 weeks. Make an offer later when there's more motivation. Don't just shoot your shot because you're just so desperate to get it under contract today. Because if it's not this deal, then I'm going back to work. Right?
Yeah, and you might be leaving money on the table too. What if it's $50,000 higher?
Yep.
And you know what Jerry said is really important. You have to call and talk to people, not just look at the data, because that broker can also tell you how many showings did they get. Like how many bodies are in the market. That's what I want. I want the pulse. If there's one body in 2 weeks, that's a concern. If there's 20 bodies in 2 weeks, then it's not a concern. And another little trick that we use now too is showing time. So like a lot of markets, you can log on and see if there's showing scheduled.
Yeah.
So as we're looking at buying a house, I can go, hey, this house right here is for sale. How many people are going to see this? And if there's 30 appointments booked, I'm going, this is a hot market. It is one of these little secret little tricks where you can go, how many people are coming through? Because that's what flippers want to know. And as wholesalers, you're going, hey, look, I talked to all the brokers in the area. They're getting showings out the backside. And it's, can I swear on this show?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, showings are ass, and there's money coming out the door. No, but but that's like just those little data points will tell such a long story. And if you call a buyer like me and go, hey, and by the way, these other two actives been on for 5 days and they're booked solid with showings, I'm going, that is where bodies are buying. And it's going to pique my interest and look deeper.
And showing time
showings are everything. Showings are almost as, I mean, that's such valuable data no matter what you're doing. Like when you're calling on an active and it's overpriced or it's kind of close to where you want to be, I don't want to pay that price. I go in at my low number or my number I want to be at, but I'm gauging the showing. So I want to create that connection with that agent. And then I'm following up with that agent. I'm like, hey, what's the activity like? Hey, what's the activity like? What's the activity like? And if the agent's like, yeah, we're getting about 5 showings a week, that's telling me a lot about where the market's at on that property. That's probably telling you this thing's going to get an offer pretty soon. Whereas if it's crickets, I hold out and I keep following up. And the longer time goes by and I just keep that on my radar, I know I'm going to get a deal because I'm in tune with what's happening in the market. The showings are telling that's the market's feedback on a property.
This is such great information. Pendings and showings. This isn't spoken about out there very often. And you guys are hearing it directly from the cash buyers' mouths of two of the biggest rehabbers in the country.
Showings are also how you gauge your price reductions when you're flipping. You list the property. Showings tell you everything. So do I stay at this price? Do I drop it? When do I drop it? You have to gauge showings, and every single showing we are adamant about following up with that buyer's agent and say, okay, what'd you like about it? What did you not like about it? What did you think about price? What was your favorite thing? What was your least favorite thing? What's your buyer's opinion? All of that is such valuable information because it's going to give you that feedback you need about your property. And I see so many flippers and they're like, Jerry, my house won't sell. It's been on the market for 60 days, 90 days. And I'm like, what's your feedback? What's your showing activity? And they're like, well, I'm getting showings. Okay, well then what's your feedback? I don't know. Well, how do you not? I mean, that means the market liked the price. They went and saw it. And when they got there, they hated it. Yeah. And then they hated it and they're not making an offer. Why? What don't they like? Maybe it's something you can remedy. So these are just the nuances that you have to get your head around if you want to do this at a high level.
Pace, what was that website that you were on?
This is something that I think everybody should get. Jamil, our title company that we're starting to get out there.
Creative Title, baby.
It'll give this information across the country, But this is just really, really cool for local. And we'll kind of go through this. I love looking at this email every single week because it gives you real-time data. It basically aggregates and collects all the information from the MLS. And it makes it so nobody can lie to you. And you'll get agents that will say stuff to you.
Like the market's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I hear
I mean,
that.
right
the market's
now,
hot
So,
over
I'm like,
here.
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of greens on the map.
Yeah.
yeah, this
Things are
last
selling
week,
so fast.
Unreal. It's
this last weekend, the challenge that we ran, the only leads we went after, we sent out 100 LOIs a day, and we got 30 responses every 100 LOIs that we sent out. And the only LOIs we sent out were to agents that were on the market over 100 days. And man, those agents are hurting. They're like, come take the keys to the house, right? We got 23 contracts out of 41 calls. Okay. So that tells you how bad agents are hurting right now. And this, I'll kind of go through this report, at least what I look at, and one of my favorite things to see. Jamil, you show me what pops out to you. Number one, this doesn't mean their stupid thing is like, oh, it's a seller's market. No, it's not. It is not a current seller's market. This is a buyer's market.
It's not a seller's market right now in Arizona.
It is not. It depends, obviously, street by street, zip code by zip code. But my number one that I always look at is right here. This is my number one, inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Inventory right now, the dotted line is the 7-day average. So it's a little bit higher than the 30-day average. But if you look at this, you say, dude, the last time we had inventory this high was 2 years ago.
Right. That was right when things got hairy, when the rates all spiked. So we're creeping dangerously close to that.
Right. And there were a lot of people that got their butts kicked at this moment. But this is where, like to James' point earlier in the show, he said this is when you buy because you can come in and you can really negotiate really great terms. I mean, imagine going and saying, I'm going to go get 23 contracts this week. Our total ad spend, we used PropStream and then we sent out LOIs. Our total cost was like $212 this entire week to get 23 contracts.
Wow.
5 or 6 of them will probably fall apart because of title issues.
Mainly creative pace.
I don't know why anybody does cash, to be honest, but yes, all creative deals. I'm joking. That's just my thing. No, we did 2 cash deals. We did a couple of loans. I did a couple of situations where sellers are in foreclosure, agents are representing them. So we gave these sellers that are in foreclosure some loans to catch up their arrears, get their house back in good standing. So we did 2 loans, 2 cash deals. The rest of them were all creative deals. And we did that all with about 41 calls, all on agent outreach. I recorded every call. And somebody said something earlier today. They said, how much time do you spend comping a property before you call the agent? My answer is 0, zilch, not 1 second do I pull it into a
Unless
spreadsheet.
you can comp as fast as I can, and in which case it's just like sneezing. But yeah.
Yeah. But for me, like what I'll typically do is Glowworm says, is the chat on? Yeah, the chat is on, but they're you got to ask them some other questions, my friend. Ask them some other questions. Good live chat today. We got 400 people in here hanging out with James.
Not only is Jamil the fastest comper I've ever seen in my life, he does it on his phone, his iPhone.
I know, it's crazy. It bothers me actually.
We should. James is really quick too, by the way.
And when I was doing it with him
in your market, yeah.
If we go outside the Washington lines, you're gonna whoop my ass.
I can smash anywhere that's in the United States on my phone.
Yeah, when I was doing it with Jamil, he's doing it on his phone and I'm on my laptop. And he'd spit out the number like really fast. And I'd be in my mind, I'm thinking, there's no way he's got that number that fast. So, a minute later, I got my number and I'm like, dude, I'm right there. That's it. That's the number. It's pretty incredible.
One of those things.
It's nice that you're good at something, Jamil,
Ron Barbosa says, what program is Pace showing? Ron, if you get together with your title company, James talked about this earlier. He said having good partnerships and a good team. A team does not literally mean that everybody's on payroll. Mm-hmm. What it means is that you have people you can rely on. So your title company or your escrow company, they will 99% of the time have a marketing director that their job is to get business to come into that title company. Go talk to their marketing director and say, can I get your information, your market updates? Can I get all that kind of stuff I want to be able to buy more deals, but I need to know what's going on with the market. So go and talk to the title company of your choice. Getcreativetitle.com. We are going to start doing market updates nationwide in January. So stay tuned for that. But that data comes from a title company that I used to do business with years and years ago. It's free data, does not cost any money. I don't have to have any subscriptions or anything. Just go get it from your title company.
What are you most excited about for 2025 with new administration, the market kind of swelling a little bit in inventory? Where people are starting to, because that's going to create a little bit of anxiety. I love anxiety because anxiety gives you opportunity, right? When the masses are anxious, you can make moves. So what's exciting you right now, James, in this kind of environment?
Right now, I think what's exciting me most, at least for the next year, which I don't even know if I answered your question, but I like a challenge. I thrive best when people tell me I can't do it, or flipping's dead. This is too much risk. And so like the challenge now is to set up a flipping business in Arizona. So I'm super excited to do that. But the thing that I love most is, this sounds a little weird, but people get distracted by shiny things all the time in real estate. And if you focus on what you're really good at, you can absolutely kill it. And what I'm seeing right now is there's a lot of distractions going on everywhere, and people are, they're shifting from one thing to another and another. And because like renovating an old house in Seattle right now has gotten boring. So they want to do development. They want to do this. They want to do this. They want to do that. And it's allowed this gap in the market to where we're buying deals substantially less than we were buying 12 months ago. And so I think what I'm most excited for is just being able to focus on what we're good at without all the weird noise. And I'm also excited for construction costs to start going down, because we have seen trends. Like we're building houses now for 15% cheaper than we were 20.
Is that labor costs have come down or material costs coming down?
Hey, James, switch back to the old mic that's to your right. That mic for some reason is not alive.
It's dead. It's dead. Thank you.
Way better.
But, every market, every minute, like whoever wins the presidency, right? Yep. We have to shift and we got to adapt to it. But I do think that I think the economy is going to get healthier. I think look at Bitcoin, look at all these asset classes. That money's got to go somewhere. And I'm kind of like, Jerry, he's a smart dude, like going to where the Bitcoin guys are going. I kind of like this model.
But have you been to Puerto Rico, dude?
Dude, anywhere I don't have to wear a parka, I don't care.
Jerry's face right now. He's like, Jamil, why are you talking smack? Actually, I'll be honest with you. I really enjoyed myself, but I was in the company of incredible people, right?
But you were in the city the whole time, Jamil. You didn't get to come see like the resort where I live and stuff.
Yeah, so maybe I would have had a different, a different experience. Not that I have a bad impression of it at all, because I walked around at nighttime there. I only got robbed once. It was.
You got free coffee. Don't forget that.
I never got robbed. Everywhere I went, I was given free things. Like they wouldn't let me use my debit card in a place because they were like a minimum of $10, and I'd already ordered the coffee, and they were like, take it for free. And then I went to Starbucks, and they were like, here, take this plastic cup, have it for free. I'm like, why are people giving me all this free stuff?
That's where the economy's struggling.
And
there's no revenue coming in.
But yeah, and then maybe it was my suitcase. They're like, this guy's really poor.
Yeah. You need to put change in that. But one of the things that we are seeing the best. So if you guys want my secret trip of what we are tracking right now, and it is getting lots of deals done.
Yes.
Is we are reaching out to trustees and receivers. There isn't a whole lot of foreclosures going on in the homeowner space from what we see. But what there is greedy investors that are in default. There's a lot of hard money lenders that were way too aggressive, that over leveraged things, that gave money out to operators that should not have got the money.
Love it. Yeah.
And we are buying rips off these receivers. And so going out and spending time meeting with receivers all day long, talking to them.
What's a receiver?
So a receiver is a court appointed, basically attorney that is handling the bankruptcy. So what happens is the operator then files for bankruptcy, and then the lender steps in as the hard money lender and has a say of what's happening. The receiver now has been appointed by the court to get all debts settled. they can push and pull on things a lot quicker, saying we've already gone through this motion. We want to get this sold, and we're getting it sold. I literally just bought a house for $175,000 the other day from a receiver. We listed it. I just sold it for $300 in 2 weeks, and I didn't touch the thing. And there is deals out there, and it's about building the relationships. And that is where we're seeing the most inventory. We just bought 3 multifamily properties. Syndicators were way too deep.
So back it up and walk us through. Remember, we're the people in this room are incredibly intelligent, but maybe some of the people that are just brand new and that don't even understand what you're talking about might need a little bit of a step-by-stepper, right? So what's the process to reach out to a receiver and a trustee? What would they do? Where would they look for their phone numbers, or how would they reach them? What would be the way that you would suggest one could develop relationships with these individuals? You guys think that would be valuable information to know? Yeah.
So what we do is list of foreclosures. If you see investment companies in there, LLCs, hard money lenders as the beneficiary for that note, that is automatically going to tell you, okay, that's a good lead for an investor. Now, does that mean we're going to go buy that house? No, but what we can see is who's been appointed. So you have your title rep. They can pull. There's an appointment of a receiver that gets filed against that property. That tells you who the receiver is. Now, we make contact with that receiver, not just to buy that house. We're going to check on the house, but it's more about building us. Like, the conversation isn't about the house. It's to introduce ourselves. So you can go on foreclosures, see any investment company, look who has filed foreclosure and who the receiver was appointed. Or you can look in the bankruptcies. If there's been a recorded Chapter 13 or bankruptcy against that property or against that LLC or individual, there's always going to be a receiver involved at that point. And so that tells you who your receivers are. And a lot of times there's just bigger players in each city. And so we're working with 10 that's going to give us 80% of the inventory to look at. The most important thing with the receiver,
they give that to you prior to foreclosure or prior to the bankruptcy or anything. Like they'll say, James, this property is in receivership. What would you offer on it? Is that how that works?
Yeah, or they'll say, hey, I got a case coming my way.
Yeah.
What can you get us as an offer? Because they want a dependable offer that they know will close, that will get this settled and moved on.
So a new wholesaler that's not capitalized is going to have a hard time in that conversation. They would necessarily need to be backed by a James or a Brent or a Jerry or a Pace or a Jamil, so that when they're walking into these conversations, they can be confident that their number is 90% likely to close. Is that right?
Yeah, you want to be 99, because if you blow it one time with that receiver, you're not getting.
And the reason I'm getting clear with this, guys, is I don't want you guys to get out there, start making phone calls with people, start writing offers to these receivers. Blow your load on the. So sorry, I said that. Blow.
What's wrong with that? What'd you say?
Blow your load.
It always feels good though. It's fine.
What kind of load?
I'm done. But you know what I mean. You don't want to do
the quickest comfort there is.
You don't want to do that, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing this correctly, so that you have the capacity to build a long-term relationship here.
Yeah, and as a wholesaler, right? We all start there. And wholesaling is one of the best businesses. I truly believe we still wholesale. It finds you the deal. It teaches you how to structure the deal. You build relationships. You want to know who you're dealing with, though, too, on that side. Part of the reason we get a lot of deal flow is if I'm dealing with a professional, a probate attorney that does a lot of probates, a bankruptcy attorney. These are people with a lot of deal flow for the next 20 years.
Sure.
I cannot fumble the ball on this deal, and I need to show that I'm dependable. So like Jamil said, you go partner with guys that are capable and say, hey, look, I got this opportunity. And if they're trustworthy, like if I go to Jamil and say, hey, I got this opportunity, I can bring you maybe 10 deals every 60 days from here. Can you get me solid numbers? That
committed buy price that I'm going to close on. This is it. I'm not, come hell or high water, I'm going to complete this deal.
Yeah, don't push it. Just give me the number that will work.
Yeah, be realistic so that you're not going to put yourself in a bad spot. But yeah, I get it, right? So but be solid on it. Be solid on it and close on that sucker.
Do not jerk that project around, or you get black labeled, right? So you want to be always that you are dependable. There's trustees that I bought properties back in 2008 that still call me first, and go, how much will you pay for this? Because they know it's 100% close. And they don't want to deal with headaches. They want to get it off, the receiver gets paid, the attorneys get paid when it closes.
Yeah.
So they want to get that deal closed, move on to the next case. And so, just be dependable. And, someone like Jamil or even me, it's like, or anybody on this call, I will look at 20 deals to get one.
Sure.
And so I'll throw 20 numbers at it for that wholesaler just to get that deal done. And so find someone with real money, they can put it up, and then that's how you can secure that deal. And you can get very, very good buys right now.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Jerry, what are you pumped about 2025?
I mean, along these lines, we're doing some pilot programs right now where we're funding flips 100%. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, but we're bringing in first position money, and then we'll fund with second position money the down payment that the first doesn't do, along with closing costs, and even we can build in interest payments to the first. So it's kind of fun. We've got a bunch of deals in the works right now. We haven't like full blown rolled this out, but that's a project we're working on. I'm pretty excited about.
Awesome.
Yep.
Jamil?
Continuing to build our co-living portfolio. It's been really good. Another one just got refied, and we pulled out 90% of our capital in the deal, which, the last one I did, I pulled out 110% of the capital, which was awesome. But pulling out 90% of my capital in a deal is phenomenal. And that's going to cash flow $3,000 a month. And, it's just they're great little base hits. If I can stack a house that pays me $2,500 to $3,000 a month, and I do, I hold on to 30 of those, 10 of those, I mean, I'm done.
Yeah.
And coming from a guy who's done over 7,000 transactions, 30 houses is nothing for me. Mm-hmm. Right. Pace and I flipped 20 houses on a TV show. Yeah. Right. It's like this is a piece of cake. So I'm super excited about it because I see the light at the end of the tunnel right now. And I'm like, oh, there it is. That's my pay. And I enjoy it. Plus I get to do something good for the housing market. Right. I'm putting livable units in there for affordable housing, which is a nice feeling because I did make 7,000 homes more expensive. I have a responsibility to deal with that. That's it.
Nice. Pace, 2025.
2025. Oh my gosh. Give me an hour. I'll tell you all the things. We're buying a bunch of flips from other wholesalers. I am not direct to seller or direct to agent much on my wholesale business anymore. We're buying, last year I bought a little over 1,000 doors. This year I only bought 200. And the reason being is this year was a consolidation year. We've been rolling a lot, doing a lot of 1031s into RV parks and mid-sized multifamily and having a lot of fun with that and just consolidating, getting better people on the teams, moving things around. But 2025, I think Cleophas Clancy Jr., I think is going to be another hedge fund boom. I had the head of acquisitions at BlackRock give me a call 2 weeks ago and said, we're back on. We've got $11 billion to deploy over the next 24 months. They also said they want, not only do they want single family, but they want portfolio purchases, RV parks, mobile home parks. I then spoke to Wedgwood. Wedgwood is like buying more than they've ever bought before. And I think that they see the slump in the market as well. And so you're seeing a lot of activity. People are ramping up. And so I feel like 2025 could be the best year we've ever had. And then also I'm going to read some books. Number one, starting right there, that first book right in front of you. I'm going to read that book next week. Where can I get that book?
The House Flipping Formula.
I will drop one off at your house since we're neighbors.
Where can the people who aren't, you're not going to drop it off to get this book?
Who's that?
Where can they get this?
Oh, you can go to Amazon. Amazon's easiest. Buy, click, pay.
It's called The House Flipping Framework, guys, by James Daynard. Definitely get your hands on a copy of this thing.
I'm buying
it's
that.
Like would you say there's $10 million worth of knowledge in here, $20 million worth of knowledge in here? What would you call it?
There's easily $20 million of knowledge. You guys,
books are so incredible. Mm-hmm. If you think about just how wonderful what a book is, I mean, $20 million in knowledge. Somebody went out there and made mistakes and learned, and then made more mistakes and learned again. And they didn't hold back. They put it into what 200 pages, and you get 20 years of this guy's life. and $20 million of his knowledge in 190 pages. I mean, what an incredible thing.
I had to lose a lot of money to write this book. All my hard lessons are in here, right?
Yeah.
And I am a firm believer that flipping is one of the best ways to cut the line to financial freedom. You can take a small amount of capital and grow it exponentially quick. And it also gives you the skill set. I mean, the reason we own over 1,000 doors in the Northwest is because we know how to create value through construction plans. Flipping taught us that. And it allows us to buy any type of asset and reposition it with the basics of flipping. That is why it is such an essential thing people must know.
Yeah, it's the best. It's like somebody coming to your house or your office and you sitting down with them for like a full day and breaking down all of your experiences. That's what reading a book is. That's what it is. Spending that much time with you, all filtered through. It's all been edited. All the stuff that, people, I don't know who edited, but people wouldn't understand or whatever else gets smoothed out, and it's right here. So guys, grab your copy. That's a no-brainer.
Brent, you did a thing, I don't know, 5 years ago, where you read a book a week, and inspired me at that time because I got a whole library of books to read, from what you were doing. How has that been? Because I haven't seen you talk a lot about books lately. I'm sure you're still reading a lot of them. What's the
so that I did a 52 book and 52 week challenge just because I kept watching dramatic shows, like TV shows, and I was like a sponge for it. And then I'd get all dramatic, and I'd be all shitty to my wife or something, or be aggressive to the kid. I've just absorbed it. So it's I need to put really good stuff into my brain at all times and see what happens after a year of that. And it was really, really, really helpful. I don't know if I really absorbed much of it. It was more just an exercise of making sure positivity and influence, a different type of influence was coming into my brain. But now I just reread the classics that I really enjoy.
And what are you excited for in 25?
I feel I was on the roof last night putting Christmas lights on. And we have these fancy twinkly ones that change different colors, LED, whatever. And every year I just shove them back into the box. And every year I'm on the roof again. I'm untangling these things. And it would take me 15 minutes to put these lights up, maybe. But I'm up there an hour and a half because they're all tangled up and I got to go through it and do all this stuff. I feel like the first time my business is in a place from a real estate standpoint that I've taken the time to wind it all up, and
where I just went and bought new lights.
Yeah, no.
Hi.
I miss you, Jerry. I miss you, Jamil.
Oh, I miss you. Hi,
Monday, are you drawing a picture?
No, we're drawing.
Say, Jerry, this is a contract.
We're drawing.
Tell Jerry this is a contract.
Dad, it's not. We're drawing lists for Santa right now.
Oh, you're doing the list.
That's smart. Get ahead of it. Yeah, get ahead of it. Good thinking.
I want a pink outfit.
Okay, I love it.
Hey, Corbin, can you draw me a picture of an iguana
Say, heck yeah, I can.
and give it to me later?
Corbin, make sure Santa brings you diamonds.
Iguana.
Hey, ask Jerry, are you coming to Montana for Thanksgiving?
Santa's rich.
What
That's so good. You were saying?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I wanted to hear the stories about the lights, the Christmas lights.
The Christmas
You're
lights.
at the point of your business now where you wind the lights.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
You're rocking and rolling.
It's going to be efficient.
Yeah.
It's going to be efficient this year. You know what I mean? And I'm excited. We've done really, really well with pay-per-click leads, and it's going to be the best. This has been the best, most profitable, and highest grossing from a wholesaling standpoint. But next year, I think we'll double it.
24 was Keegley's third most profitable year since our inception.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
Third most profitable year. And it's interesting to see that because, of all the things that are going on in the markets and the fact that rates were at record highs still, and yet we still had this kind of profitability. And so I feel like with some changes in the administration, and I mean, again, I'm not a believer that the administration changes my life, but I do think we're going to have some different economic policy, which is going to create some different confidence.
Yeah.
And confidence matters in the market. It really does.
Yep. And I think people are tired of sitting on the sidelines. I think some of the people that have been sitting there and they're like, I'm going to wait until rates go back to 3 or 4%, or just like, whatever. I'm going to just deal with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can stay there though.
Yeah.
We'll keep buying.
Yeah.
You think that they're not coming back in a 3 probably ever again.
No,
Yeah.
never again.
But
I think
unless you're buying creative, then you get 3% rates.
there you go. Yeah.
Here's a good question. As we wrap up, can I start wholesale even if I only have $5 on me? Yes, actually, I'm starting wholesale. I'm going to start doing this over and over and over, and putting myself in almost impossible situations, primarily to warm up for a challenge that I'm doing with Jerry and Jamil in Alaska. I challenge these two freaking knuckleheads to beat me, where all three of us have to go to get a job as servers at the same restaurant in the daytime. And we have to then only work our real estate business in the evening with no money. So we're tired, we're covered in grease and food, and then we only have the evenings to work on our wholesale business, and we're going to document the whole entire thing and challenge each other. But in order for me to warm up for this, because I think I need to warm up for a whole year to even compete against Jerry and Jamil, is I'm going to be putting myself on a park bench in blank city. I'm not going to tell anybody the city. On December 8th, document everything live, and I'm going to have nothing, no money. The only thing I'm going to have is a cell phone and a charger and the clothes on my back, and I will show you that not only can you start, but you can make money that week, money in your pocket in a week doing wholesale deals. And I will document every single step along the way, so you can also do the same thing. So yes, you can wholesale even with only $5 on you. In fact, first thing to do with your $5 is go buy hot dogs.
Where do I get to watch it, Base? Are we going to get to watch you? Are you going to stream it? Like, what's the...
Yeah, like last week's challenge that we did, here's what I did. I actually broke my challenge into 4 breakout rooms. I did one room was us generating the leads, so you could see the leads being generated live.
Was this on like a Zoom? On what was it? Where were you? Zoom?
I had 20 people in my home watching it live. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you a photo of it if you guys want to see a photo of it. I did it live in my home and then live streamed it to everybody. And people watched me close deals. And I took my notes right here off the whiteboard desk thing. And anyway, so this one that's coming up is going to be me, myself, and I. But this last one I did, I'll give you guys the recordings. If you guys want the recordings for the last one, I'll have them edited and cleaned up. The reason why they have to be edited is because there was 4 separate rooms. There was the lead gen room for 3 hours on day 1. There was me making calls for 3 hours on day 1. There were the newbies that I was training how to set appointments on day 1. And then there was my transaction coordinator that was handling the contracts on day 1. So literally you see the lead get created. It moves to the newbies. The newbies set the appointment. It then moves to me. I close the deal. It then moves to my transaction coordinator. If you need more information than that, please go to Mars, because the only people that can teach you are the aliens. I have no idea what more that you need than that.
Jamil, we better start training.
You better start training, because I'm coming. I'm coming for you. I think the problem is you guys don't need training. I need a year of it. So this last one, everybody's like,
no.
Yeah, but I don't want to be Mike Tyson. I don't want to be Mike Tyson.
He's just getting a head start. That's what's happening here. Because he's like, you know what, these old a-holes, they're not gonna come with me and sleep on a park bench. So he's just getting his reps in. He's gonna figure it all out. He's gonna know all the places that he got it wrong. And then when you and I go, Jerry, we're just gonna look dumb.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
That's the goal.
We're just gonna look we're gonna just be sitting there being like,
I'm gonna go sit on a park bench in San Juan and see what happens.
Oh, you'll get gutted, bro. You'll get gutted like an iguana. Jason Quavato says, right, is this for your students only, or is it going to be public? So last week, if you guys actually paid a freaking attention, you know what's interesting is I was reading this article on X this morning, And the article talked about how this professor about a month ago gave her entire class the test and all the answers to the test, but it was emailed to the students. Not a single student opened up the email. And she's like, I knew you guys don't pay attention. You guys are all using ChatGPT now. You're not paying attention to anything. Guys, ChatGPT is making it so easy for the old school people like us that just pick up the phone and TTP all over everybody's asses.
Mm-hmm.
This game has gotten so much easier. Thank you, ChatGPT, for making a bunch of pussies out there in the real estate world, because nobody wants to pick up the effing phone. Nobody. So what I did is I shared the first 3 days of the challenge. It was a 7-day challenge. I shared the first 3 days of that challenge in a private Zoom. I gave it away to everybody. You could see all 3. You could bounce from Zoom room to Zoom room. How many people were there that were not my students? I gave it for free. Did not charge anything. There was not a pitch. There was nothing. All we did was lay down game. And I don't know that I'm quite as good as Jerry on the phone, but by January, I promise I will be. I've been watching his YouTube channel naked every day, getting lubed up and ready for it. So we had so much fun, literally A to Z, guys, even showing the paperwork and how the transaction coordinators call after I say, no problem, agent. Ralph was the name of the first agent. So I said, Ralph, sounds like we got a deal. I'll have my transaction coordinator reach out to you and we'll get the paperwork done. I hang up, move on to the next call. Everybody left my call and they jumped over to the operator Zoom and they watched my transaction coordinator talk to Ralph. It literally was A to Z. If you ask another question about, can I just see the process start to finish? Again, jump in a rocket ship, go to Mars, because the aliens need to teach you, because you don't speak English. That's all there is to it. So I am challenging Jerry and Jamil. I think that I can be the reigning closing champion in the wholesale industry. And Jerry will now have to be kind of a genius, and Jamil will be out of all 3 wishes as a genie.
So what do people call me then? A semi-flipping genius?
Yeah, they'll call you semi something.
A has-been flipping.
Y'all don't know, man. I got a magic carpet, bro. I got a magic carpet up my sleeve. I'm good.
I've been watching Jamil for a very long time, and Jerry, you've been my hero for a very long time. I think I need a year to warm up to even be half of your guys' level. So maybe we should get Brent in this challenge too. But I don't know if you're on a park bench. I don't think we get enough protein to keep you alive, bro.
Yeah. Well, it depends on where the park bench is. You know,
on a cattle
ranch or something. That'd be nice. That's it. Wholesale Hotline number 246.
Give it up for James, guys.
James Dingard in the house.
We out.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yep.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.